parents shopping for back-to-school items will notice higher prices this year as tariff uncertainty makes its mark. And it is not just parents spending more than average. Educators are also taking the hit. Alicia Nieves joins us now. Alicia, what do we know about why prices are rising on back-to-school items?
You mentioned educators obviously spending more. And if you know an educator, this is actually not new. I've got friends who've been telling me this for years who are teachers. But the number of educators having to do this, that is actually growing pretty significantly. Taking an overwhelming majority of educators, you're talking more than 90% of public school teachers say they now buy their own classroom supplies with their own money. Take a listen.
Seeing educators, not only our teachers, but our support professionals, our nurses and counselors, digging into their own pockets and spending as much as $500 on school supplies.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny, right? And it's not just teachers, parents, they are also feeling the pinch. The cost of school supplies, that has risen again this year. I actually dug through some of the Bureau of Labor Statistics data on just a sample portion of school supplies. Pencils, for example, and art supplies, those are up 2.9%. Paper, that is up around 4.8%. Backpacks, you're talking 4.1%, and shoes 5 to 10%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you start to add that up, it can be a significant impact to the average household, and especially if they have multiple kids, right? Much of this attributed to the tariffs that we have seen the president implement on foreign-made back-to-school essentials, and people don't realize so many of the school supplies that we utilize are actually imported. One example I didn't even put in this chart, clothing. 97% of all the clothing that we buy stateside, that is actually imported. So right now, we are starting to see that short-term pain the administration has warned about, and then we'll have to wait for the long-term gain for a lot of students and a lot of parents and households.
All right, well, what can parents do, Alicia? I mean, I'm thinking about, like, you know, maybe you don't buy a new backpack this year, you don't buy a new lunchbox this year. What do you do?
But your kids need that stuff, right? I will say, listen, recent federal funding has been released after multiple delays, so that's going to be helpful to teachers, and that'll trickle down to parents. But ahead of that, the rising cost of school supplies, along with, other economic stressors, we've actually seen many communities move to initiate programs that offer free or discounted supplies for parents and teachers. So listen, search online for a back-to-school drive in your area. If you need the help, there's no shame here. Also, you can consider just cutting back on non-essential back-to-school purchases like you were mentioning, Anna. Maybe you don't get the extra pair of shoes or the Lisa Frank folder that I used to get, when I was a kid. This is actually something 56% of parents are saying they're doing, according to data from Intuit Credit Karma. Or we call this the substitution effect in economics. Switch brands. If your preferred brand is a little bit too expensive, maybe go to an off-brand product for the school supplies. Deloitte saying 75% of parents are planning to do this, up from 62% what we saw in 2024. And this is something that, I remember as a child, I had to deal with. I wanted the Nike sneakers and I ended up getting the Payless ones. Wasn't fun back then, but it built character. So
look,
it's not the end of the world.
Good these days.
Yes, they're better now for sure.
How many times do you talk to somebody and they say, "Oh, I got that on Amazon"? I got the Amazon
We have
fashion.
that conversation on a daily basis behind the scenes.
That's right. Alicia, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.